Sylvanas Windrunner's story is one of the most intricate and tragic arcs in the vast lore of World of Warcraft. Born into the noble and powerful Windrunner family in the High Elven Kingdom of Quel'Thalas, Sylvanas was destined for greatness from an early age. Her family was renowned for their exceptional skills in leadership and combat, and Sylvanas was no exception. She was the middle child of three sisters, Alleria, Firisa. Sylvanas also had a younger brother, Lyrith, whom she adored and was especially close to. As the Windrunner family grew in prominence, so did Sylvanas, who quickly earned respect for her mastery of the bow and her unparalleled skills as a ranger. Sylvanas rose through the ranks of the High Elven military to become the Ranger-General of Silvermoon, taking over the role from her mother Lyrisa Windrunner. As the leader of the Farstriders, an elite group of rangers, Sylvanas was responsible for protecting the borders of Quel'Thalas from external threats. Her bravery and tactical genius were well known, and she played a key role in defending her homeland during the Second War against the Orcish Horde. Her reputation as a formidable warrior grew, and she became a symbol of elven resilience and strength. Sylvanas' willingness to challenge tradition became evident when she admitted a human, Nathanos Maris, into the ranks of the Farstriders. This was a highly controversial decision, as it was unheard of for a human to join the ranks of the elven elite. Many of her fellow rangers were outraged, but Sylvanas stood by her decision, recognizing Nathanos' exceptional skills and loyalty. Sylvanas' life took a dark turn during the Third War when Arthas Maynathil, a paladin turned Death Knight, led the undead scourge to invade Quel'Thalas. Arthas sought to use the Sunwell, the source of the High Elves' magical power, to resurrect the necromancer Kel'Thuzad. Sylvanas, as Ranger-General, was tasked with defending her homeland from the scourge. She quickly organized the elven defenses and led her forces in a series of strategic battles to slow Arthas' advance. For a time, Sylvanas was successful in delaying the scourge's march through Quel'Thalas. She set up ambushs, fortified defenses, and used her superior knowledge of the land to her advantage. However, the sheer numbers and relentless power of the undead proved too much. Arthas, wielding the cursed blade Frostmourne, was unstoppable. He breached Silvermoon, the capital of Quel'Thalas, and in a final confrontation with Sylvanas, he captured her. Rather than granting her the honorable death she deserved, Arthas subjected Sylvanas to a fate worse than death. Using the power of Frostmourne, he ripped her soul from her body and transformed her into a Banshee, a vengeful spirit bound to his will. As a Banshee, Sylvanas was forced to lead attacks against her own people, aiding in the destruction of everything she had sworn to protect. This torment fueled her hatred for Arthas, and she vowed to one day break free and take her revenge on him. The destruction of Quel'Thalas, along with the corruption of the Sunwell, marked a catastrophic turning point in Sylvanas' life. The kingdom she had devoted her life to protecting was in ruins, and she was now a slave to the very force that had destroyed it. Yet even in this darkest moment, Sylvanas remained unbroken. She bided her time, waiting for the moment when she could seize control of her own fate. That moment came when Illidan Stormridge, a night elf demon hunter, launched an assault on the Lich King in Northrend. Illidan, wielding the Eye of Sargeras, sought to destroy the Frozen Throne, where the Lich King resided. Although Illidan's plan failed to destroy the Lich King, it did significant damage to the Frozen Throne, weakening the Lich King's control over his undead minions. This moment of vulnerability was what Sylvanas had been waiting for. With the Lich King's grip on her soul weakened, Sylvanas broke free of Arthas' control and regained her autonomy. She immediately set out to gather others who had also broken free from the Lich King's thrall. These undead, like Sylvanas, had been slaves to the Lich King but now sought their own path. Sylvanas rallied them under her banner and formed the Forsaken, a faction of free-willed undead who rejected the Scourge and sought to carve out a place for themselves in a world that had abandoned them. Under Sylvanas' leadership, the Forsaken reclaimed the ruins of Lordaeron, establishing their capital in the Undercity, beneath the once-proud kingdom of Lordaeron. The Forsaken, like Sylvanas, were driven by a deep sense of betrayal and loss. They sought vengeance against the Lich King and the living world that shunned them. Sylvanas, now known as the Banshee Queen, became a symbol of defiance and strength for her people. Her hatred for Arthas remained the driving force behind her every action, and she vowed to destroy him at all costs. However, the path Sylvanas chose was not one of simple revenge. Her methods were often ruthless, and she made morally questionable decisions to ensure the survival and dominance of the Forsaken. One of her most pivotal actions was aligning the Forsaken with the Horde. Although initially viewed with suspicion by the other races of the Horde, Sylvanas saw the alliance as a necessary step in securing the future of her people. The defeat of Arthas during the events of Wrath of the Lich King should have been the culmination of Sylvanas' quest for vengeance. Arthas, now the Lich King, was finally slain, and Sylvanas watched as her greatest enemy fell. But instead of finding peace, Sylvanas was left feeling empty and purposeless. The Lich King's death did not bring her the closure she had hoped for. With her revenge complete, she had no direction and saw no future for herself or the Forsaken. In a moment of despair, Sylvanas threw herself from the top of Isocrone's citadel, hoping to end her existence once and for all. But instead of finding peace in death, she found herself in the Maw, the darkest and most torturous part of the Shadowlands. It was here that Sylvanas realized her soul was condemned to eternal torment. Faced with the horrifying reality of what awaited her in the afterlife, Sylvanas was approached by the Valkyr, winged beings who had once served the Lich King. The Valkyr, now without a master, offered Sylvanas a deal. In exchange for their continued existence, they would serve her, granting her the power to raise new Forsaken and continue her rule over her people. Sylvanas accepted the deal, returning to life and using the Valkyr to bolster the ranks of the Forsaken. This pact not only secured her position as the Banshee Queen but also deepened her connection to the forces of death, setting her on a darker path. As Warchief of the Horde, Sylvanas' actions became increasingly ruthless and driven by a singular vision, one that often conflicted with the ideals of honor and loyalty that had traditionally defined the Horde. Her most controversial and devastating decision came during the events of Battle for Azeroth, when she ordered the burning of Teldrassil, the world tree and home of the Night Elves. Initially, it appeared that Sylvanas' goal was to capture Teldrassil and use it as a strategic advantage in the ongoing war against the Alliance. However, during a confrontation with a Night Elf Ranger who expressed hope that the Alliance would ultimately prevail, Sylvanas was overcome with rage. In a moment of fury, she ordered the destruction of the tree, resulting in the deaths of countless civilians, including women and children. The burning of Teldrassil sent shockwaves through Azeroth, sparking a full-scale war between the Horde and Alliance. The decision to burn Teldrassil was seen by many as an unforgivable act of cruelty. Even within the Horde, Sylvanas' actions were met with outrage and dissent. Many, including Sorfang, a prominent orc leader, questioned her motives and began to see her as a tyrant rather than a leader. The burning of Teldrassil was not just a tactical decision. It was a calculated act of cruelty designed to crush hope and spread despair. As the war between the Horde and Alliance raged on, it became clear that Sylvanas' motivations went far beyond the mere conquest of Azeroth. She had been working in secret with the Jailer, a powerful entity in the Shadowlands who sought to dismantle the very fabric of life and death. Together, Sylvanas and the Jailer aimed to break the cycle of life and death, reshaping the cosmos to suit their vision of true freedom. Sylvanas believed that the current system of death was unjust and that the only way to achieve true freedom was to destroy the chains of fate that bound all beings. Her alliance with the Jailer revealed her ultimate goal: to create a new reality where no one would be enslaved by destiny. However, her methods became increasingly destructive, and her actions caused untold suffering across Azeroth. By the time the truth of her plans came to light in the Shadowlands expansion, it was clear that Sylvanas had become a villain in the eyes of many. In the end, Sylvanas' partnership with the Jailer led to her downfall. The forces of Azeroth, both Horde and Alliance, united to stop the Jailer and his plans to remake reality. Sylvanas was ultimately defeated, and she was forced to confront the consequences of her actions. Tyrande Whisperwind, who had sought vengeance for the burning of Teldrassil, confronted Sylvanas in a final confrontation. However, instead of killing her, Tyrande chose a different form of justice. Sylvanas was sentenced to spend eternity in the Maw, tasked with retrieving the souls she had condemned to that dark realm during her time in league with the Jailer. Sylvanas Windrunner's story is one of the most tragic and morally complex arcs in the history of World of Warcraft. From her early days as a noble high elf defending her homeland to her transformation into the ruthless Banshee Queen, her journey has been marked by immense loss, betrayal, and a relentless pursuit of power. Her decisions, especially the burning of Teldrassil, left a lasting mark on Azeroth and its people. Yet even in her darkest moments, Sylvanas remained a figure driven by a deep sense of purpose. Her desire to break free from the chains of fate, to create a world where no one would suffer as she had, is what ultimately defined her. While many see her as a villain, others view her as a tragic figure who was consumed by her own quest for vengeance and freedom.
Arthas. I died trying to stop that monster, only to wake up haunted by one with my face.
That Banshee is you.
No. I cannot accept